and dudettes. How are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to Cinema Chazzy, the segment on this channel where I review the many movies that I watch over the years, whether they're old or new or modern or classic. I'm aware that some of those words are synonyms, but I still keep saying it because it's my intro. I have it memorized and there's no point in changing it now just because of grammatical flaws. Anyway, so today I'm going to be continuing my little rundown of the Star Wars sequel trilogy here, Today covering quite possibly the most unpopular Star Wars movie of all time, which is Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Oh boy, this one here, dude. Oh man, I really don't know where to begin with this one here. Actually, I do. I'm going to tell you that it was released in 2017, 2 years after Episode 7. And this movie here was actually very financially successful because on a budget of $300 million, it went on to gross a whopping $1.3 billion and beyond. And at one point, it actually peaked as the 9th highest grossing film in history. But since then, it's fallen, to 19th, right? Because other better movies have been released and whatnot and that thing, Now, the story takes place literally directly after The Force Awakens. Right now, we focus on Rey, who seeks the help of Luke Skywalker in the hopes of turning the tide for the Resistance fleet against Kylo Ren and the evil First Order. All the while, we have Leia, Poe, and Finn trying to escape an attack by the First Order on the dwindling Resistance fleet. Very epic, very nice. Directed by Rian Johnson instead of J.J. Abrams, which, as you will see, unless you have already seen it, there were quite a few subversion of expectations by the fans. The writing was very, questionable at many points in the story, and it's not a bad movie per se. There were many fans who petitioned for it to be, removed from the Star Wars canon. I think that's a little bit too much, It's not that bad, okay? If you view it as a standalone movie and not part of the Star Wars sequel trilogy, then it's not that bad. But when you consider how it's supposed to connect to Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker, yeah, it kind of sucks. But, this was actually the first posthumous release by Carrie Fisher, who unfortunately passed away in December of 2016. And the movie is dedicated to her memory. It's very, disheartening that we, lost Princess Leia so, soon. Gone way too soon. But, that's essentially the first little rundown of it. And now, before I talk about the very convoluted plot, let's take a look at a clip here from The Last Jedi.
Something inside me has always been there. But now it's awake. And I need help.
I'm gonna see if I can sum up the movie's plot, 2.5 hour long plot in about 5 minutes or less. It starts off with Poe Dameron leading a daring attack on a First Order dreadnought, and he does take it down, but at the cost of half of the Resistance fleet, so he gets berated by Leia, who is incapacitated after Kylo tries to shoot down the starship, the little command center where she's in, but he hesitates, so somebody else comes and shoots it down. Leia goes into space, but then uses the Force to come back, Mary Poppins style, but then she is unfortunately, injured and is in recovery. So then Vice Admiral Holdo assumes command, doesn't get along with Poe at all, actually hates him. They're kind of going at each other's throats. Then we have Rey trying to, learn from Luke on Ashto, the name of that planet there with the weird alien thingies. Luke has gone into self-imposed isolation, right? He has disconnected himself from the Force, but Rey wants answers. She wants to know who her parents are and what her place in all this is and what the Force is and whatnot. So, they do start to kind of get along, but as the movie goes on, their relationship gets a little bit more tense. Luke reviews the backstory of Kylo, right? How at one point he had a Jedi temple trying to train new recruits, but then he sensed the dark side in Kylo because of his connection to Darth Vader. So he had a moment of weakness. He drew his lightsaber and Kylo saw him, and they fought back and then ran away and joined the First Order. Throughout the movie, we see these weird little Force calls between Rey and Kylo, which is never really explained. They can communicate with each other and also see where the other is. It's just that was never really completely fleshed out, by the way. It just kind of happened. We do get a token cameo by Yoda appearing as a Force ghost after Luke gives up and tries to burn the Jedi books, right, so he can kind of make the Jedi end. At this point, Luke is feeling very pessimistic, but also we are introduced to another character named Rose right after Finn wakes up from a coma and tries to escape, but she incapacitates him. But then, he reveals that he actually has to get the tracker away from the ship so Rey doesn't find them, because there is a very ongoing plot point, which is that the First Order is chasing the Resistance even through hyperspace, and for some reason, for the first time ever in any Star Wars related, piece of media, there is fuel. The ships have fuel now, and they can run out of fuel, and they have limited fuel, and they need the fuel to travel through space. So the First Order somehow knows that they don't have a lot of fuel, so they're trying to freaking, I don't know, man, it's just really weird. There is a confliction within Kylo Ren also, right? He's fighting, struggling to go back to the light side. All the while, we finally see Supreme Leader Snoke in the flesh, who's now an actual character. I guess he's kind of like the stand-in for Darth Sidious. Very nice, very cool. And as the movie goes on, at one point, Finn and Rose, they go to this planet, this little gambling planet, which the name completely eludes me. Oh, it's Canto Bight. It was right there in my head, but so they go there, they do some misadventures, they have to find a code breaker so they can break the First Order code so they can stop tracking the Resistance fleet so they can escape in time, trying to make it down to an abandoned rebel base. So then, essentially, there is a moment where Rey and Kylo join forces, and Kylo actually kills Snoke, which is a moment that nobody expected. Then they fight the First Order guards together, and they almost team up, but then Rey says, nah, you're a bad guy, I don't like you, and then they stop getting along completely. Kylo goes back to the First Order and goes to attack the Resistance fleet and this and that, it's all good. So then, here we go. I forgot about this. I have the little cheat sheet here, by the way. I literally have the cheat sheet here because I don't remember all of the plot points. So, Rey and Chewbacca, they eventually go to the Millennium Falcon. They try to draw away some TIE fighters. Try to give the Resistance fleet, time to escape and get down to the planet, which is... What is the planet that they're on? God dang it, I don't know what planet they're on. Oh my god, they're going to the planet Crate. They're going to the planet Crate, right, where we see the final act, where Luke shows up to help them out, and he kisses Leia, gives her Han's dice from the Millennium Falcon, and then the First Order fire on him, and Kylo tries to fight him too, but then Luke just keeps dodging, doesn't attack him, and then it's revealed that it's actually Luke projecting his image through the Force, while still on the planet Ahch-To. It's really awesome, good reveal. The Resistance has time to escape, and then Luke, disappears. He gets absorbed by the Force and fades away as his robe just flies into the air, and it's a very nice ending to a character, although it could have been done so much better if Ryan wasn't the freaking director. But that's pretty much it, man. We see a little kid at the end looking to the stars and seeing a starship, probably parallel and Anakin and Luke when they were younger. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And if you thought that was a confusing explanation, just watch the movie. It'll make even less sense. So anyway, before I continue, let's take a look at another clip here.
Let the past die. Kill it. If you have to. That's the only way to become what you were meant to be.
And now, let's talk about the star-studded cast, right? A lot of the actors and actresses returned from Force Awakens, right? So we have now Mark Hamill in a more prominent role as Luke Skywalker, a powerful Jedi Master who has gone into self-imposed exile on Ahch-To. Someday I will figure out how to pronounce this planet's name. I like the parallels to Yoda isolating himself on Dagobah, it kind of comes full circle with that. We have the late Carrie Fisher playing Princess Leia Organa, who is now, General Leia Organa, who is Luke's twin sister and former Princess of Alderaan, right? And now it's, now she's a leading general in the Resistance, so very more fleshed out details than from The Force Awakens, but unfortunately not a lot of screen time because the actress passed away. Then we have Adam Driver as Kylo Ren, who is Supreme Leader Snoke's disciple, and also, he is the son of Han and Leia, which makes him Ben Solo, right? He's also Luke's nephew. I like the idea of them trying to sort of establish a redemption arc for Kylo where he is already flirting with the struggle inside of him, you know, and trying to see good and, you know, sort of levitating towards the light a little bit, not being as evil as in the first movie, which I thought was actually pretty cool. Then we have Daisy Ridley as Rey, the highly force-sensitive scavenger from the forest planet, the desert planet Jakku, you know. She joins the resistance and goes to find Luke, and we get the reveal that her parents were apparently nobodies, you know. They were just, you know, trash junkies who traded her off for beer, you know, alcohol. I think that's what it was, you know. So they really didn't care about her. However, there is a little bit of hesitation there. There seems to be seeds of, you know, doubt, right? So I don't really know what Ryan was thinking on that one there, but still, John Boyega as Finn, the former stormtrooper of the First Order who joins the Resistance, you know, and he is apparently very infatuated with Rey. We still, 2 movies and we still haven't gotten anything, you know, paid off in that, you know. You would think watching these movies that he and Rey are going to eventually get together, but it doesn't allude to that. Instead, it's apparently implied that he and Poe Dameron have something, but I never really saw that. And speaking of which, Oscar Isaac as Poe Dameron, the X-Wing fighter pilot in the Resistance, you know, very high-ranking pilot, but very brash, you know. He clashes with Vice Admiral Holdo, especially when he stages a mutiny because he doesn't think she has a plan, even though she does. So, which at one point is actually very heroic because she freaking goes into hyperspace and crashes into the First Order ship, you know, which gives the Resistance plenty of time to escape. So very heroic if you ask me. Andy Serkis coming back now playing Supreme Leader Snoke, you know, the leader of the First Order and also Kylo Ren's master. I can't remember if he played Snoke in the first movie or if it was in The Force Awakens or if it was a different character altogether, you know, but still, Andy Serkis, man, winning Oscars by not even showing up as humans. Lupita Nyong'o as Maz Kanata, you know, a pirate and ally of the Resistance, that little short woman, you know, orange with the big eyes and the goggles and whatnot. She makes a very brief appearance. So Dom Hill Gleason as General Hux, the former head of the First Order Starkiller base before it was destroyed. Now he's, I'm guessing, a general in the Starfleet, right? And there are some moments where he clashes with Kylo and it doesn't end well for him. You know, Kylo essentially takes over after Snoke is killed. Then we have Anthony Daniels as C-3PO, you know, human-cyborg relations, human protocol droid, you know, in service of Leia Organa, even though we don't see Leia anymore in the same capacity as we would because Carrie Fisher passed away. I will never get over that, man, my god. And then we have Gwendoline Christie as Captain Phasma, the commander of the First Order Stormtroopers. I ended up not talking about her during my little plot review, but she does appear in the movie, you know. Tries to arrest Poe and tries to arrest Finn and Rose, but you know, a fight breaks out and she is eventually killed by Finn. So it's a very epic moment where he smacks her helmet and we see a little bit of her face. Then she falls down a chasm to her death. A pretty lackluster, anticlimactic end to an otherwise very epic character, but then we have Kelly Marie Tran as Rose Tico, who is a member of the Resistance who works in maintenance and is the one who who does incapacitate Finn because she thinks he's, you know, running away and deserting them, but they actually start to get along more. There's a very awkward kiss between them at the end, which is very forced. There's no chemistry at all there, so Laura Dern as Vice Admiral Amandine Holdo, who is the officer in the Resistance, you know, tall lady, pink hair, you know, takes command, and then there's a very heroic sacrifice by her at the end. Then we have Benicio del Toro as DJ, who was the underworld codebreaker, essentially, who, you know, can pretty much hack through anything and open any door, lockpick any lock, right? So very good character. Not enough character development on screen, but still, you know, he's a pretty good actor. I like him. And for one last thing that I'm going to say is that Frank Oz returns as Yoda, who was the deceased Jedi Master, you know, who shows up as a Force spirit. And it's very nice the way that they show Yoda as the original puppet, you know, that we saw in the original trilogy, because I think the idea there is because that's the Yoda that Luke knew, the one that Luke interacted with. So it makes sense to have that old Yoda come back because Luke never saw the CGI version of Yoda, right? So it was both fan service and also, you know, it's canonically accurate. It does make sense. That's the Yoda that Luke always knew, so it's very nice. Very nice, well-rounded cast, man, you know. Even though some of them aren't big fans of this movie, I still think everybody acted well. They all did really nice. Am I too close to the camera? I think I might be. I don't know. But anyway, so before I move on to the final stretch, let's talk about... No, let me show you one more clip. Sorry.
Come on! This is not going to go the way you think. Fulfill your destiny.
one thing that you cannot deny about The Last Jedi is how well it was made, you know? Despite the storytelling, you know, and the script being a little bit, you know, strange and inexplicable at many times, it was still a very entertaining movie. And I love how they incorporated actual real world locations as opposed to just, you know, Hollywood green screen. Like, for example, Ireland was used as a stand-in for Octo or Ashto. Correct me in the comments how you pronounce that. Show me the phonetics thing there. There was a salt flat, you know, in Bolivia that was used as a stand-in for Crate, and also a city in Croatia which was used for Canto Bight. So I thought it was really cool. And it's crazy because there were so many sets that were created. Originally there were going to be 160 sets, you know, created for the movie, but then, you know, after some cutting and trimming, they got it down to 125 sets built on 14 different studios. Specifically, and I have it here, Pinewood Studios, you know, 14 sound stages, not the studio, sorry, on 14 sound stages on Pinewood Studios. And The Last Jedi up until that point was the Star Wars movie in the entire lineup with the most amount of special effects, because anywhere from 180 to 200 creatures were created with CGI, man. It was insane. Like, it's Star Wars, so of course it has to have CGI. There has to be computer generated imagery, you know, and it never really felt like too much. The movie is very in your face. There is a lot of action, a lot of things going on at any given moment, but it just starts to become a little bit too overwhelming when you consider that some of the subplots, they just, I don't know, they seem to be, it's like the entire movie went by at a very slow pace, you know, because we have the First Order chasing the fleet, you know, and they're waiting for them to jump to hyperspace so they can chase them again. And there are times when they're just floating there in space, you know, talking about fuel and this and that. So there are times when it feels like it's dragging. And other times it almost rushes, you know, it's like that freaking Whiplash reference. It's not a bad movie. I love how John Williams came back to compose the score again, because I mean, who else but the legendary John Williams, man? You know, JW for life. So everything was very, very nice, you know, in that way there. Like, I think that the movie was well shot. It was well edited. Like, as a motion picture, you know, epic science fiction, space opera, action, adventure, it was very well done, really well made. But the production, even though it's very, 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 you know, remarkable, it cannot overshadow the lousy writing, right? So for some reason, Ryan just thought it would be a good idea to take Star Wars that we had already, you know, gotten with The Force Awakens, and just, like, instead of doing fan service, he did him service, you know? It just felt so strange. Like, you could tell very, very early on that it wasn't the same director, right? And there was more witty dialogue now, with some of the characters being funnier and more sarcastic, like Luke, for example. I actually liked that. I didn't think it was too bad, honestly. I really thought that implementing a little bit more comic relief here and there with the dialogue was nice, even if Mark Hamill himself did not like the direction his character was taken. Sometimes it seems like I'm the only one who liked the movie, you know? I did not hate it, you know? I understand why a lot of people did, but I personally liked it, you know? As a Star Wars movie, and as, you know, it was very entertaining. As a Star Wars fan, I felt satisfied watching, although I only ever watched it twice, you know, first in theaters and now recently to review it here for you guys. So that's essentially it, and there's more that I can say, but you know, given how the movie, oh yes, there are a few things I want to point out here. It right now is the second highest grossing Star Wars film, you know, of all time, and it was well received by critics despite the fans hating it. 4 nominations at the 90th Academy Awards, including Best Original Score and Best Visual Effects, as well as 2 nominations at the 71st British Academy Film Awards, right? So, I mean, it's like I'm saying, man, it wasn't a bad motion picture. It wasn't terrible. It's watchable. So I think people who disliked it, that's fine, but you shouldn't petition to remove it from the Star Wars canon. That's just stupid and childish. It's still a Star Wars movie. It didn't give us a very satisfying bridge between Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker, but it was still Star Wars. It's nice. But unfortunately, I cannot ignore all of its flaws, so I am going to give The Last Jedi a resounding 6 out of 10. That is probably the lowest rating I've given a movie in a long time here, you know, but I can't give it too much higher than that, man. That would just be pandering to, you know, fanboyism, and I just don't have the time and patience for that right now. But I think that's essentially it, you know. So, good music, good cast, bad story, good special effects, right? Bad dialogue, you know, good set pieces. You know, it's a mix of emotions that The Last Jedi provided me with, you know. And rest in peace to Carrie Fisher, man. My God. She died when she was, let me take a look here. She was 60. She was exactly 60. Carrie Francis Fisher, also known as Princess Leia Organa. But that's it, guys. I'm gonna wrap it up here, and I hope you liked it. I hope it wasn't too stunted. If it feels like I'm rushing, it's because I'm recording this video very early, and I have to, as soon as I'm done, I gotta get ready and go to work in a few minutes, so I have to get this out so I can have time to, you know, edit and export to, you know, upload it the next day. So it's all good, man. Let me know in the comments what you thought about The Last Jedi, what your rating is, if you liked it, didn't like it. Let's have a little debate in the comments there, and it's all good. And if you happen to like this video, please go ahead and give it a like, and also subscribe to my channel because I release videos every single day. And while you're at it, hit the notification bell too so you can know exactly what time I upload. And it's all good. It's all good. I actually release videos every other day, not every single day. That's gone now. But anyway, this is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Roll the final clip and then the outro screen. Actually, may the force be with you, and then roll the outro screen.
I need someone to show me my place in all this.